What's up, everybody? HomesteVil33 here, and today I have another Medal of Honor Warfighter gameplay commentary for you guys, and I'm playing some Hotspot on Tungawan Jungle using the Spec Ops class, and I'm not going to talk about the gameplay at all because I have such a serious topic to talk about today, and this is something that's very serious and disheartening and saddening news for me, and I think a lot of you Medal of Honor fans are going to be very saddened by this news as well, but, I mean, this is kind of just very controversial, and this is very, very new information that was leaked and that I found via my guys over at Pixel Enemy. I've been linked an article. I'm going to leave you guys a link to the article in the description of this video as well, so make sure you check that out. But I'm going to explain basically why Medal of Honor Warfighter had such a very lackluster and lame release, why there weren't that many copies sold, and why the interviews were very few and far between. And last but not least, why did this game get such low reviews from the reviewers? What was going on? And to tell the truth, there was a lot going on. And EA and Danger Close had a lot of under the table operations and actions that they were pulling off before the release of this game. And most of it was EA. And they're to blame for a lot of this game's failures. So I'm going to start off right now saying that Medal of Honor Warfighter's troubled release, it may have not been a shock to Electronic Arts because they actually stepped in and exercised their own creative control and changes after ousting Danger Close executive producer Greg Goodrich nearly 2 months before the game hit stores. Now, this all started with the controversy because we all know that Medal of Honor 2010, this game's predecessor, hit stores in October of 2010, but before that, the game had actually ran into quite a bit of controversy because they included the Taliban as playable characters in the game's multiplayer. So a lot of the mothers of veterans of the Afghanistan wars had been very upset about the fact that you can actually play as the Taliban and shoot American servicemen. And there was a big outcry and lots of issues that kind of plagued the game, and it actually hurt their sales in the end because the game was pulled off military shelves across the world, and some people just refused to buy the game for that very reason. Now, Greg Goodrich had always been a person who would always emphasize the authenticity and realism of his games, the Medal of Honor games, and he did the same thing here. In interviews at the June E3 Expo, Greg Goodrich confronted early criticisms of the game's realism and defended it for being authentic. Now, this interview turned very tension-filled and people felt very uncomfortable. Now, this doesn't really have much to do with the problems that this game faced. It's just kind of some interesting information that Greg Goodrich was always very hardcore about advertising these games, and he figured that the realism and the authenticity could be a great selling point for this game beating Call of Duty. Now, the real issues started as Danger Close found itself in trouble over a partnership program that was accused of promoting military weapon and equipment manufacturers. Basically, Danger Close had the allowance of these military equipment manufacturers to include images and actually have in-game these actual weapons that the Special Operations Forces actually used. So Greg figured this would be great for having the authenticity of the game brought to another level, and he thought it could be a great selling point. And what they had to do in return was donate to some military charities. Now, what happened in August is that the whole partner program's intention of the promotion of the weapons and items used on the battlefield actually became a pretty big issue. And as the story went further, the whole program was completely removed without any comment from EA. They just totally kept it under wraps, and they told Greg Goodrich to keep it under wraps. They told him, you cannot talk about this at any interviews or anything like that. So at this point, a change in attitude completely of Warfighter happened. Now, in September, we all heard that the Zero Dark 30 map pack, the new DLC, was going to be involving Osama bin Laden and that whole Navy SEAL team that was assigned to kill him. And really, this is very surprising because we all didn't even think about the fact that just a month or two earlier, Greg Goodrich said himself that he was not going to be venturing into the whole Osama bin Laden mission because he thought it was too soon and it would be kind of dishonorable to do that for all of the guys that were involved in that mission, and he was just going to stay away from it. But up until this point, there was very vindicative indication that Goodrich is totally staying away from the whole bin Laden thing. Now in September, EA and Danger Close are advertising the fact that there's going to be a DLC completely about that. Now, if that's not a change of heart or a change of mind, I don't know what is. So at this point in time, Greg Goodrich had been completely off the radar. Nobody knew where he was. He wasn't talking about Zero Dark 30. He wasn't showing up in interviews. People who emailed him and called EA and Danger Close about him and his whereabouts, they were just told that he was on vacation. Or if they called his business phone, quite often there would be absolutely no answer. It would go straight to voicemail, or they would be once again told by an operator that he is on vacation. So this is very, very unlike Greg Goodrich, and most importantly, this is completely uncharacteristic of any game company's executive producer around the time of launch. So this is where the troubled launch and the reviews come in. Now, Warfighter released on October 23rd of this year, and a break with the publisher's normal procedure review copies of the game, they weren't sent out until the day of release. Now, if you guys don't know, most of the time, companies like IGN and these game reviewers actually get games probably a couple weeks before they actually come out. They get early copies. That way they're able to come up with their reviews, and the review scores are usually sent out before the game comes out. That didn't happen with Warfighter. What actually happened was they got the game on the day of release, and that's why they were able to review it very late, and the actual reviews of the game didn't drop until at least a day or two after the game was released, which is quite unusual. The reason for this is because EA and Danger Close rushed through this game, released an unfinished product, and they knew that the game was going to get low review scores, so they made sure that they didn't send out these copies until the day of release so that they wouldn't lose even more sales. Because they knew that the game wasn't finished and completely done, so they figured, okay, well, we can't let the reviewers find this out and spread that information to everybody else and maybe have more pre-orders canceled. So what'd they do? They kept it under wraps, didn't say anything, and didn't give the reviewers the games until the day of release. So this is very, very under-the-table action. I don't appreciate it whatsoever as a consumer, as a buyer and frequent of these Medal of Honor games, and it is confirmed that Greg Goodrich was ousted of the whole project. I don't know if he was fired from EA or Danger Close, but we don't really know yet. But I think he was removed from the Medal of Honor series, and I think this is an end. This game, Medal of Honor Warfighter, is an end of the Medal of Honor franchise. It's very disappointing, but I think it's a fact. I mean, I can't confirm it, but that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm very sorry to deliver this news to you guys. I'm very disappointed as well. Leave your comments down below with your thoughts, and if you enjoyed, leave a like. And that's pretty much it. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace!